Hi, thanks for joining us on Inside Curtin. I'm Lem O'Neill. In this episode, we find out the reason behind those fascinating coffee cups on campus, check out what's coming up at the Curtin Gallery, hear thoughts on Curtin from visiting United Nations member Wayne Macintosh, and learn from a US academic who has recently been studying fandoms. If you've been following Curtin online, you would have noticed the Humans of Curtin campaign that has been celebrating diversity on campus. Well, this has now been extended in a very unique way.
So have you seen the cups of Humans of Curtin?
Never.
It's really pretty. Yeah, it's got a lot of art on it.
Oh, it's pretty cool, pretty creative.
What do you think it means?
The art probably symbolizes something. I'm seeing a face in it.
What do you think it's for?
I wouldn't have a clue.
So the coffee cups are a part of the Humans of Curtin campaign that we've been running here through the university for the last year or so. It's kind of part of a grassroots community activation project we're working on where we're looking to share stories from people around the Curtin community. We're letting this Humans of Curtin movement grow organically, and you might have seen stories and artwork floating around, but these cups are sort of the next phase of what we've started online in the Humans of Curtin Tumblr. We're now looking to feature stories around the campus and throughout the community to bring attention to what a fantastic and diverse community we have. Well, we've been overwhelmed with people wanting to submit stories. We're hoping that this is the first iteration of a number of things to come. We've got, at the moment, 3 different artworks and themes, and we're looking at how people from all different sexualities play an important role in the Curtin community, people from all different multicultural backgrounds, and then people from all different regional locations as well. It's pretty typical within the university to talk about academic brilliance, and that's definitely a part of what university is all about. But part of that conversation too is the fact that we all bring something different and we all have different objectives for seeking education. So this is a way to sort of broaden the conversation and for us to celebrate some of the great things we all do collectively and as individuals, and some of the things we overcome in order to come here and be part of Curtin.
Now you'll have something other than social media to read while you drink your coffee. The Curtin Gallery sits in the heart of our campus. Free, available, and a rich source of artistic stimulation. But how much time do any of us spend there? Here are a few reasons to give the gallery some thought.
We've just recently had a lot of success with a program that we ran through the school holidays, which was aimed at staff and students looking for holiday programs for their kids. We had an exhibition on where one of the artists, Sean Gladwell, was doing a skateboard video. He's actually an accomplished skateboarder, and he combined his love of skateboarding with love of art, and he created this wonderful video where he did 360 turns in front of iconic landmarks around Paris. So we had that on in the gallery. So what we did was we called in an organisation that teaches skateboarding classes. We got the kids of all skill levels to do skateboarding the classes, a couple of hours. We did a sausage sizzle, then we put on skateboard movies, and it was highly successful. We extended it. We thought we're going to have to do this every holidays. Traditionally, we do a lot of floor talks and have guest speakers, and those speakers always kind of reflect what we're doing in the gallery at the time. For example, last year we did Afghanistan, and we had an expert on the political situation in Afghanistan coming in and talking, and that was taken up by a lot of students who are studying political science.
We involve students in many ways. We have an exhibition, have done for the last 18 years, an exhibition every year of works from the School of Art and Design. As well, we're working on a project showcasing student work from the Faculty of Humanities for the first time. Next exhibition is an exhibition called Bella Kelly, which is a fantastic exhibition that's come up from Albany. It's looking at a woman who was born in the early part of the 20th century, a Noongar woman who was a pioneer artist in Noongar culture. A lot of stolen generations children made some extraordinary artwork in the 1940s at the Karrulup Native Settlement, and some of her children were taken away from her and taken to the Karrulup Settlement. Following that, in September, we have a wonderful exhibition curated by an external curator, John Mattia. The exhibition's called Invisible Genres, and it's part of the 400th anniversary commemorations of the landing of Dirk Hartog up at Shark Bay in 1616. And it's examining the influence of in a nutshell, Dutch culture on the region over the last 400 years.
If you've got half an hour or 5 minutes to come in and look at what's on, that would be great.
Warm and dry in winter and cool and calm in summer, the gallery is a great place to escape from the world for a while. Our latest MOOC is on the subject of reputation management in a digital world, which includes information from visiting US academic Erin Riley. We caught up with her while she was here to find out about another interesting area of her research: superheroes, music, and sports fans.
Yes, I'm a fan myself. Anyone that wants to talk about vampires can come and see me. I'm just saying. And I study it as an academic, so it's, something we study in popular culture is fandoms. You might not be a fan of everything, but you're probably a fan of something. And fan studies is actually really understanding kind of the social and cultural ramifications of how people like to interact with their passions. We all aren't motivated in the same way. For example, when I was looking at soccer fans, I found that you would think most people want to be entertained. They're motivated to be entertained, we like to watch. In actuality, that's not the case. A lot of people are about identification. It represents a little bit of who I am, because my dad and I sat and watched soccer on Sunday afternoons when I was growing up, and so therefore as an adult, I want my son to actually know kind of the experiences that I had. That's very different than other fans who are about mastery. Those that really want to geek out in knowing about either all the statistics and numbers in fantasy football, to those who are in love superhero and comic book characters, and they want to know every little detail about that character and the stories and the history and all the different books and media platforms that they can engage with to better understand their fandom. Or you can find people who, like for example, grew up with Harry Potter, the generation of Harry Potter readers, and they grew up, and by the time they hit college, they said, wow, well, what if Dumbledore's army was real, and created Harry Potter's Alliance, which actually is an activist group. So their motivation is through advocacy to make change in the world, just like Dumbledore's army. And they've actually just done that. It's a lens to how you see and envision and participate in the world, which is part of participatory culture. And those behaviors actually are triggered by different situations that we put ourselves in. So when we know this information about fans and how we like to engage in participatory culture, we can really create more nuanced value to not only the fan, but the organizations they want to participate in.
She has some amazing ideas, and we'll be hearing more from her in the future. During the Festival of Learning, we were visited by Wayne Macintosh, a New Zealand-based academic who had some great things to say about our uni, when he spoke to our very own David Gibson. His lectures and workshops during the Festival of Learning were absolutely fascinating.
Wayne, you travel all over the world. What do you think of what you're seeing here today?
I have to say, in my work in open education, I do have the privilege of visiting many institutions around the world, and I have to say, Curtin University, in terms of your teaching and learning innovation, is way ahead of most of what I've seen out there. It is really
In what ways are
outstanding.
you noticing things that are here that are different or that are out in front?
I think it is really a culture and a willingness to work openly in establishing new futures in ways that are going to serve learners in ways I haven't seen before.
Great.
This is a case in point, having these demonstrations and students sharing what they've done as the opening to the event is a demonstration of the culture.
Because this is mostly internal event. We should be sharing this more with the outside world. What are some ideas you have about how we could do that?
Education is fundamentally about the sharing of knowledge. That's the very reason we teach. And I think at events like this, we can start sharing our experiences. Every institution does have teaching and learning events for professional development and for staff to showcase their work. But if we were to openly license our presentations and the work that we are doing, we can share best practice among different universities, because most of these events are focused internally. But we could imagine an open website where all universities share the outputs of events like this in improving learning practice.
Now you're going to talk about OER later today. What are the big messages out to a whole faculty across an entire university about OER?
Well, I think the whole open education movement is one of the major driving forces of change in higher education, but change for the better. Throughout the world, students are coming under increased pressure for the cost of a university education. And one of the best ways to reduce cost and widen access to education is through the opening of resources. And I think universities of the future are going to have to increasingly implement open education approaches, not only to become more efficient, but actually to live out their mandate of providing support to the communities.
And these resources include learning experiences, texts, fungible materials, 3D experiences, even face-to-face experiences.
Exactly. So all the artifacts that we use in teaching and learning, in theory, could be opened. And so that our universities can start focusing on what really means, or what is really important. And those are the teaching-learning interactions and the facilitation of learning on campus, rather than enclosing our content resources.
Great. Well, thank you.
That's it for this episode of Inside Curtin. If you'd like to find out more about anything you've seen, you can visit the Learning for Tomorrow website at curtin.edu.au. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.